Dear ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Before we commence with the proceedings, I kindly request all participants to take their seats and ensure that all mobile devices are set to silent mode. We have an exciting program ahead of us, filled with informative sessions, engaging discussions, and inspiring presentations. Thank you. Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you to this esteemed investment forum. Today, we gather here to shed light on a remarkable project, one that holds immense potential and promises a brighter future for Indonesia, the smart and sustainable forest city Nusantara. I would like to take a moment to inform you about two aspects that will enhance experience throughout the use of headsets and the of simultaneous translation to the Russian language. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and let the forum begin. Before we proceed with our discussions, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and express our deep gratitude to the esteemed participating guests who have honored us with their presence at this investment forum. Please join me in extending a warm welcome and expressing our sincere appreciation to the following guests. Mr. Bambang Susantono, the chairman of the Nusantara Capital Authority. His Excellency Ambassador of Indonesia to the Republic of Kazakhstan and Tajikistan, Dr. Muhammad Fajrul Rahman. Mr. Almaz Aidarov, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs to the Republic of Kazakhstan. Professor Muhammad Ali Berawi, Deputy of Green and Digital Transformation of the Nusantara Capital Authority. And also we have our guest here joining us through Zoom, Mr. Agung Wicaksono, Deputy of Finance and Investment of the Nusantara Capital Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today to discuss the exciting opportunities for investing in Indonesia's future capital, it's my pleasure to introduce a video that encapsulates the beauty, diversity, and rich cultural heritage of Indonesia. Through this visual journey, we hope to inspire you the boundless potential that Indonesia holds as a sustainable investment destination. Without further ado, let us now watch a captivating video. Welcome to wonderful Indonesia.
feel the warmth, see the smile, friendship and love, that's what I feel. Hold my hands, turn with me. People of the land, they dance and sing, magnificent beauty of nature among the colors of heaven. This is a wonderful place. I feel loved, I feel wonderful, oh wonderful Indonesia.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to warmly welcome and invite to the stage the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Republic of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Fajrul Rahman, to give the opening speech.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency Minister Bambang Susantono, Chairman of the Nusantara Capital Authority, Republic of Indonesia. Welcome to Astana, Mr. Minister. His Excellency Almas Aidaro, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Kazakhstan. Thank you very much for coming. Deputy Hakim of the City of Astana, dear Excellencies, Ambassadors, Chairman of Atamekan, Mr. Ayan Yerenov, distinguished CEOs and representatives of companies and banks of Kazakhstan and other business entities in Kazakhstan, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Khairlitan, good morning. Firstly, I would like to welcome you again to the Nusantara Investment Forum. My highest appreciation for your presence in numbers at this forum, which entitles Investing in Indonesia's Future Capitals, Smart and Sustainable Forest City of Nusantara. This year, 2023 represents a special year to Indonesia and Kazakhstan because as it marked the 13th anniversary of bilateral diplomatic relation between our two countries. Thank you very much for the Kazakhstan. It is thus important to further strengthen and develop a fruitful bilateral relationship with a range of activities and forms of cooperation, including in the field of investments. Indonesia, as the biggest economy in Southeast Asia, will move its capital from Jakarta in the island of Java to a new city named Nusantara. Nusantara means archipelago, maybe. Archipelago in East Kalimantan on the island of Borneo, starting next year in 2024. Nusantara encapsulates clear vision and firm commitment from our President, His Excellency Joko Widodo, supported by the Parliament and all elements of the state, to build a green and smart forest city. Because Minister told me that the new branding is the Green Forest Smart City. Okay, we have to add forest inside, not only the grand city, but also the green forest city, which will drive equitable future growth of Indonesia. The development of Nusantara require major investment and collaboration between the government, business actors, and foreign investors, including from Kazakhstan. Estimated cost of construction of Nusantara in 35 billion US dollar, but the exact number we will give. The Minister Bambang Susantono will give us the detailed information on that. The Indonesian government is committed also to providing 20% of capital cities development funds from the state budget. The remaining 80%, yes, 80% will be funded by investor, the business people, through private investment and public-private partnership. Consequently, the project presents a huge investment opportunity for Kazakhstan businesses and other investors seeking to invest or expand their operation in Indonesia with a population of more than 285 million people. It is the huge and the big consumers. Even better, pivoting from Nusantara as strategic hub, investor can also access the vastly dynamic economy of ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nation. Three of the ambassadors of ASEAN now here, from Malaysia, from Thailand, and also from Vietnam. The Association of Southeast Asian Nation with more than 665 million people, 665 and 68 million people. Indonesia in 2023 is the chair of ASEAN and hosts the ASEAN Summit. The theme of Indonesia's ASEAN chairmanship is ASEAN Matters, the epicentrum of growth. As the chair, Indonesia is determined to further strengthen ASEAN cooperation and ASEAN relevance in responding to regional and global challenges, as well as strengthen ASEAN position as the epicentrum of regional economic growth. Taking into account the strategic need to promote the outstanding once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to invest in Indonesia, the Embassy of Indonesia, with the support of the government of Kazakhstan, the Akimat of Astana, and the private business actor in Kazakhstan, has organized this Nusantara Investment Forum today, this morning. I am delighted to welcome His Excellency, again, Minister Bambang Susantono, the chairman or the head of Nusantara Capital Authority, and the delegation. We are very grateful for your presence at this forum, Minister. Yes. The delegation, the chairman, will later present to you in detail, again in detail, the vision and development aspect of Nusantara toward 2045 and investment opportunities in various sectors, as well as a large collection of attractive incentive and benefit, which will greatly ease you in doing business in Nusantara. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this week also a very important and meaningful and historic week for Kazakhstan. In just 2 more days, on July 6, 2023, Kazakhstan will celebrate the 25th anniversary of the nation capital Astana, Kota Bolson po Astana. 25 years ago, Astana started from a humble beginning in a small town called Akmola by the Izim River. Today, Astana now become a young, modern, cosmopolitan capital with such prominent city qualities. And I am very happy to be here. I have been here for 1.5 years, and I saw everything about the modern cosmopolitan of Astana. Now Astana is a sprawling city with a dynamic economy, with more than 1.3 million population that befits Kazakhstan position as the largest in the Central Asia. Astana is a stunning mixture between science fiction, like modern building, and the strong Kazakh cultural identity. It is the very, very good mixture between modernity and traditionality. Astana is most importantly as a result of a strong determination from its leaders, combined with the large support of the people of Kazakhstan. In this celebration week, allow me to warming say happy birthday Astana, Kota Bolsan Astana. Congratulations, Astana has become a story of success, and we need to learn from Astana as the success story to move the new capital city. And the best practices for the major cities of the world, including for Indonesia future capital Nusantara. Astana has been an example of how to have the courage to start a political decision that may not be popular, but has long-term strategic value if consistently implemented. Secondly, how to strive to implement the vision of a smart and sustainable city. Thirdly, how to continually continuously raise the regional and international profile of Astana with various international expos and important forums such as the Astana International Forum. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, Minister Bambang Susantono and the Governor Janis Kasimbek have signed Memorandum of Understanding between Nusantara and Astana regarding Capital City Initiative. This is a very, very monumental moment because the first sister city of new capital of the Republic Indonesia, Nusantara. Again, the first sister city of the new capital of the Republic Indonesia, and with Astana. I believe that Nusantara and Astana will mutually beneficial collaboration where Astana can share its success and experiences in Nusantara. During its development can share excellent features of the future smart and sustainable forest city Nusantara. I believe it is not a coincidence and indeed exceptional that Indonesia and Kazakhstan can mark the 30th years of bilateral relation by uniting the ties of cooperation between Nusantara and Astana at the moment where Astana is celebrating its 25th anniversary. This would serve a strong impetus for both of our countries to further strengthen and develop fruitful bilateral relationship with many more achievements. Before the signing of Nusantara and Astana MOU on the 15th of May 2024, Indonesia and Kazakhstan people also more strongly connected through the introduction interline service or connecting flight on the 15th of May this year. On the 15th May of this year, we have also the interline or connecting flight between Bali and Almaty. So welcome to Bali by Air Astana and by Garuda Indonesia. Through Incheon, and we also hopeful that soon Indonesia and Kazakhstan can establish a direct flight. We are also aiming to finalize draft MOU on the promotion and protection of investment and continue to increase the trading value of Indonesia and Kazakhstan. And our target this year, it is about $1 billion. And we will work together to realize a summit meeting between our two heads of state, His Excellency Mr. President Kasim Jomart Tokayev and His Excellency Mr. President Joko Widodo as soon as possible. I believe that the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs and all of the distinguished guests from Kazakhstan would agree that we should constantly aim for more height and achievement in our bilateral relation. And the booming between our relation, it is our hope in the next future, this year and the next future. I want to close by reiterating that Indonesia needs your support and collaboration to successfully realize our vision of smart, green, beautiful, and sustainable forest capital city of Nusantara. Alga Nusantara, Alga Astana, Alga Kazakhstan, Alga Indonesia, Kazakhstan bilateral relationship. Kub rahmat.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, now get ready to be transported to the vibrant heart of Indonesia as we present a mesmerizing cultural performance. Today, we have the pleasure of showcasing the enchanting Nusantara dance, a celebration of Indonesia's rich cultural heritage. Nusantara dance is a unique dance that combines 6 traditional dancing styles of Jakarta, North Sumatra, Kalimantan, Bali, West Sumatra, and Papua, which express the unity and harmony and diversity of Indonesian people. The dance embodies the cheerful smile of Indonesians. Please give a warm round of applause as we welcome the talented performers of the Nusantara dance to the stage. Please enjoy. Dear guests, now we would like to invite you to witness the beauty of the vision of the Nusantara city through a captivating video presentation. Please direct your attention to the screens as we present the future Nusantara capital.
Welcome to Nusantara, a place where the splendor of nature blends seamlessly with communal living, creating a tapestry of harmonious coexistence. Witness the captivating mangrove eco-park residing within the reach of vibrant communities. The grand capital of Nusantara ushers in a new era of governance and business. An economic zone that takes pride in its efficiency, becoming a hub for innovation and progress. Here, technological solutions harmonize with environmental consciousness, creating a transit-oriented development which leaves minimal footprint on our cherished Earth. Step into the beating heart of a lively city, where the future of endless possibility begins and grows abound. By building an education center which transcends cultures, we forge tomorrow's generations that paints the identity of our nation's diversity. New and established football stadium and training centers will become the hallmark of Indonesia's endeavor in achieving its athletic success. As the sun sets, the city awakens in liveliness with entertainment district that celebrates Indonesian prismatic heritage. Find joy, come together in the botanical garden and discover the wonders of the tropical world. A better society is a healthy society. At Nusantara, an integrated healthcare system will be built as the pillar to the well-being of its people. It speaks of Indonesia's commitment to improve lives, which upholds the highest standard of quality and inclusiveness. We we invite you to join us in entering our most promising chapter. Experience nature. Experience progress. Experience Nusantara.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, now please allow me the honor of inviting a distinguished guest to join us on the stage. It is a great pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Bambang Susantono, the chairman of Nusantara Capital Authority.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning, Tan. I hope that I'm pronouncing it right. Ambassadors Muhammad Fajrul Rahman, ambassadors, colleague from ASEAN, from Malaysia, Thailand, and also Vietnam. I can feel a strong ASEAN spirit here. So thank you folks very much. Deputy Minister Almas Haidarov, thank you for coming. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is really a great pleasure for me to be here with you and share about the development of Nusantara, our new capital city of Indonesia. I thank you, Ambassador Fajrul Rahman, and also our colleagues here from Astana for hosting these important events. But let me first congratulate Astana for the 25th years anniversary. And happy birthday, as my ambassador also told us before, to Astana, and all the best for Astana. And I'm glad that we enter a sister city agreement yesterday. And I do hope that this will pave the way for our cooperations and collaborations in the future. So let me share with you a couple of things about Nusantara, and feel free also to contact us after this, because I have my two deputies here. One is a deputy for digital and green transformations, Professor Ali Berawi. Please stand up. And also on the line, I have also deputy for investment and finance. He's going to also ready for you if you are asking for incentive, what kind of incentive, and also what kind of process that you would like to have in participating in our development of Nusantara. To give you some perspective, let me first note that the movement of the capital is not a standalone policy. This is part of our Indonesia 2045 visions. Yeah? And the visions aim to create inclusive and more equal economic growth in Indonesia as a requirement for us to be a high-income country. We hope that by 2045, when we celebrate our 100 years of independence, we are going to graduate from the middle income to high-income status. Yeah? The development of the new city is in a strategic locations of Indonesia expected to be the catalyst for greater economic distributions, and this in turn will boost the country's economic and also social growth. Beyond that, ladies and gentlemen, the development of Nusantara reflects Indonesia's determinations also to make a tangible contribution to the 3 global campaigns. I would like to really emphasize on our participation on this 3 global campaign by also developing Nusantara. First, Nusantara wants to be part of the global agenda in conserving our biodiversity, okay, by rejuvenating the rich flora and fauna of Kalimantan, and we will implement the Nusantara Nature Positive Plan, we call it that way, which will ensure the protection of wildlife habitat in the city. Okay? We are working closely with several organizations, including to develop a biodiversity baseline and also conservation strategy. So you can see a couple of them. This is the Bekantan, a long-nosed endangered species that we would like to protect in the Nusantara area. So first is on the biodiversity. Second one is the global campaign on the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goal. We will work closely with different agencies to track and report our SDG progress in Nusantara, and also come up with our own, what we call the voluntary local review, or VLR. Nusantara will be the first city in Indonesia that conducts a systematic tracking and also review of our SDGs. I have also my chief of SDG in my office for this job. And the development of the VLR, voluntary local review, we do hope that by next year, we are going to launch that one in New York, in the UN headquarters. The third and last point, which I will discuss more later, is our effort to play an active role in the global campaigns against the climate change. This is very important, including developing Nusantara as the Indonesia first city to be carbon neutral. I will explain to you later on this one. And if you see these three global campaigns, I'm pleased to inform you that we are working with several international organizations. Yeah, you can see some of them here. This is some of them, again. Like the UNDP, the Asian Development Bank, the USAID, and others, including the, for example, international organizations like WWF, the World Wildlife Fund, to again strengthen our efforts to contribute to the global campaign of the three areas that I already told you before: SDGs, climate change, and also biodiversity. Yeah. This organization treats Nusantara as a living lab, which provide them with opportunity to generate new knowledge in addressing the global challenges. One standard that Nusantara adheres to its framework of ESG, environment, social, and governance, because we want to be the first city in Indonesia to comply with the ESG standards. We understand that the ESG is very important right now, and it's a new norm also for every investors. If you want to participate in the global financial and also global campaign against climate change or SDG, usually you will be asked what will be your ESG status. And I'm happy also to share with you that we are going to have our first ESG committee up and running by next month. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, now allow me to share some basic facts about Nusantara. Nusantara is located on different islands. Yeah, if you see the left-hand side here, so I point there one. This is Almaty, and this is Astana. The difference is that we are moving to another island in Indonesia, from Jakarta here to Nusantara here. Yeah, but almost the same. But again, the difference is that usually you move the capital on the same land mass or on the same land area, like the one my colleague in Putrajaya, for example, with Kuala Lumpur in the same landmass. But here, the uniqueness of Nusantara is that we move to another island. Yeah, and that is also unique, and we would like to really develop Nusantara as the engine of economic growth by 2045. Okay? The total area of Nusantara, including a land area, is about 256,000 hectares here. Yeah, this is the land area. If you compare with our capital, Jakarta is 4 times larger than Jakarta. And if you want to compare with Astana, I have a number here, is 3.5 times larger than Astana. Yeah, the whole area here, the pitch one. The one that we are now concentrating is the core government area, which is this one. This is where the palace of the president, palace of vice president, and also ministerial offices will be located here. Yeah. Until next year, we are going to focus on developing this area. Although right now, because there are so many demands of requests by investors to develop other area, we also would like to open some area here and also adjacent area here. For example, there is a request to develop equestrian park. Yeah, that would like to also have some international events on the horse racing next year, early next year. So we open area of this area also right here. Okay. So of the on the 256,000 area, 4 times larger than Jakarta, only 25% is going to be built. So I repeat, only 25%. The 65% will be tropical forests of Kalimantan, and the other 10% will be a green area, can be agriculture or other area. Yeah? So you can see here that the Nusantara, as ambassadors Fajrul told us, is a forest in the city and the city in the forest, actually, right? So we call it right that way, because most of the area will be a tropical forest. And we have to learn how to live in harmony between people, nature, and culture. Yeah, because this is going to a sustainable forest city. Yeah. So as you can see here, we have 9 economic generators. This is the core government area that we are focusing. This is for the renewable energy area. There are a couple of requests from the investors to develop a solar farm here, for example. On this one is on the financial sector, but I also we are now in the middle of discussion of having a fintech center, for example, and also a couple of development area that focusing on the economic and also sort of like Sharia economic and financial center on that area also. Yeah, so we have 9 economic generators here, and as you can see here, each of them has a uniqueness. Some of them will be innovation and research center. Some of them will be EduTown, and we are working with, for example, the Tony Blair Institute in UK to develop education town and education complex by inviting some of the best universities to locate or to open some branch and also institute in Nusantara. Okay. Let me also share with you our connectivity, because usually for the investors, they would like to ask 3 things. One is, what will be the population base? How many people will live there? And then what will be the connectivity on that area? The third one, the usual questions that posed by our colleagues, investors, potential investor, is the incentive. Yeah, but let me focus on the 2 of them. One is the connectivity. Right now we have a city of Balikpapan with 800,000 people live there. This is oil and gas city, middle income city, very rich. And we can go by here in, right now it's about 1.5 hours. But we are constructing this toll road right here, so that by the time we finish the toll road, we can go to the Nusantara area here in about only half an hour, 30 minutes. That's going to be the accessibility. Yeah? That's number one. Second one, on the population base, 800,000 people here. Also, you can treat them as your potential population base. There are another city here. This is the East Kalimantan Province capital, also a commodity-rich area, city, I mean, and it's about 850,000 people. So you add up this 300,000, 850,000, and next year we are going to have about 200,000 people live in Nusantara. So all in all, your population base, if you consider your what will be the demand from the populations there, you can go by 1.8 to 1.9 people. Yeah, that will also deal with Nusantara and also would like to have some services of Nusantara. One thing that I would like to emphasize also is that this one, because this is what we call the immersed tunnel, because some part of the toll road, we have to go under the water. Why? Because we want to conserve the area here. This is a mangrove area, very rich with the biodiversity. I told you before that Nusantara will be part of the global campaign on biodiversity. We will follow the protocol of Kunming and also Montreal. This is the UN protocol. That's why now all the road has to be under the water, because we want to protect the area above that one. Yeah, so this is going to be a bit expensive, but we do hope that there will be some investors that would like to work with us. Of course, the total area here is the total road is here, and this is a toll road, and this is the area where the immersed tunnel will be built right there. So you can see our commitment on how we will protect the environment of those areas. Yeah. Next one. This is the stages, as I believe Astana also have some stages. Yeah, and our first milestone will be next year, because the our President Joko Widodo, one of the initiators of this movement of the capital, will end his term next year. So we have to do something on next year, 2024. But beyond this one, we will build the city over the next 20 years. So I can, project like the Astana after 25 years, what will be happening in our case? Of course, it will be different because we are having a lot of hilly area. And don't forget that we are going to be a tropical forest, sustainable forest city. And that will be a striking difference with Astana, of course. We are not going to see a skyscrapers in Astana, in Nusantara, but we are going to see a more design that in harmony with nature. So all of them will be a green design, but smart also, smart building. Yeah. Next one. So if you ask me, Bambang, what will be the situation in 2024, next year, when we will move the capital as a first stage? Yeah, this is the area. Of course, there is still a lot of tropical forests here. Remember, 75% will be still tropical forest, but safe to say that this is the area that we want to build. Yeah, this is the presidential palace, a couple of ministerial offices here. We will have one mall here. This is the offices of our state-owned enterprise and private sector. Of course, we also care about, for example, a place for medium, small enterprise to also to participate on this. Yeah, and other facilities like schools, education facilities, hospitals also, and amenities or lifestyle facilities like the mall, the department store, and others that we will also build in this area. Yeah, in the next couple of days, we are announcing some of them that will be having what we call the groundbreaking. Yeah, so this is some imaginations for next year. Yeah, hopefully we will have this kind of situations on the 17th of August 2024. Next slide. So just reminding you again that we are going to have a carbon neutral situation by 2045. Yeah, by still conserving the 65%. This is going to be tropical forest. Yeah, with all the biodiversity that we want to be enriched in the future, and only 25%. And this must be also a green area. There will be no vehicles with the gasoline coming to the city. Yeah, only a green vehicles, either EV or perhaps hydrogen that will allow to enter the city's area. Yeah. So because we are controlling this 25% and also making this as a tropical forest, so it can act as a carbon sink. Yeah, you know the carbon trading kind of things, and this 65% will be acting as the absorbing the all the carbon dioxide that or the emissions, and this 25% we control that one. That's why we have a good positions to be a carbon neutral city, and hopefully by 2045. Yeah, we are going to be the first city in Indonesia that has a carbon neutral situation on that year. Yeah, next one. So let me update you from the side what is happening right now, but I do hope that some of you will also visit Nusantara, because I believe that seeing is believing. This is the presidential palace that we are now really developing that one. Massive construction in underway. There are a lot of logistic and also access road. This is the housing compound, hosting about 12 to 15,000 workers at the peak that we are going to have. Right now we have about 7,000. Yeah, and it's going to be a staging and stepping forward. Next one. The other one is the dam that will supply the water to Nusantara. We do hope that we are the first city in Indonesia to have a potable water, so you can drink directly from the tap for the water. There is also another intake, and this one is very important because this is a nurseries. I told you that we are going to have a tropical forest. How do we do that one? By having what we call the reforestations. So instead of deforestation in the past, Indonesia is being accused of having deforestation by illegal, for example, logging. Yeah, but in the future, by developing Nusantara, we are going to have reforestation, and this nursery has a capacity of 15 to 20 millions of trees that we are going to inject, that we are going to plant in the production forest that we have right now. So it will become a tropical forest in the future. Yeah, and because of the topographical condition, we will have a lot of this small lake. We call it the riparians, the parking space for water, including Ambung is a small lake, for example, because the hilly area and also topographical situations, we will have a lot of this kind of parking space for water, and we are going to implement what we call the sponge city concept. It's like sponge, you know, you absorb the water, and then you can use the water whenever you need it. Yeah. So the sponge city and also nature-based solution is one of our sort of like tools that we are going to develop. Yeah, there are a lot of new approach that we are going to have in the city. The sponge city concept is now being implemented in some of China city and also some of the Australian city. Yeah, there is a growing interest of many of the cities to implement this new concept. Okay, next one. I think that I have to emphasize this one because we have a local community at that area. Right now it's about 30,000 people. And I told everybody that I don't want them to be just watching what is happening in developing Nusantara. They have to be part of the development process. Yeah, and that's why we are doing upskilling and reskilling of those local communities to be there. This is a week ago that we have medium and small enterprise training, how to make a packaging, for example, how to make a sort of like selling marketing with the digital literacy that we have. Some of them being sort of like barista, you know, coffee makers. Some of them are doing some bread kind of things. Some of them are doing some hydroponic, yeah, and a lot of things. But because this is going to be a smart city in the future, so that is why the digital literacy is very important for them. And we are doing our best to upskill and reskill all the local community there. Yeah. Next one. Now, let me also share with you the latest part, the last part of my presentation on the investment. And as of end of June, we received about 256 letter of interest. 256, and it's going to be going up again. You can see the area of this letter of interest, right? So, for example, energy has the highest in the infrastructure. Some people would like to have some on the transportation, health, housing, and others. And about 19 countries right now is expressing their interest. Pak Dubes Malaysia, there are a lot of them coming from Malaysia. And terima kasih, Pak. Thank you that there are also growing interest of our brothers and sisters from Malaysia to participate in developing this Nusantara, because we are close to the border. We have Sarawak and Sabah there, right? But just to show you this one, so I do hope that I can add Kazakhstan, Mr. Ambassador, as Fajrul Rahman on that list. I think that in at least 1 or 2 months, I will also host, inshallah, some of you that will be seeing what is happening on the ground. Yeah. Next one. And this is a sample of investment that we are offering to many of you that would like to invest in Nusantara, ranging from health facilities, there's education and research facilities, or perhaps offices and mixed-use development. Some of you would like to also go to the infrastructures area like toll road, airport expansions, and others, right? Some of you would like to also participate in renewable energy and so on and so forth. Ecotourism is also open for investment, and I think not only the hardware, but also the software, the system, we need that one also, and also the brainware. So we also inviting some of the participation on how we train people with the latest technology, for example, in the AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, or perhaps a blockchain is others. So because we need to have a leapfrog in 2045. Yeah. Next one. And there is a couple of incentive that being possible because we have our government regulations newly issued by the government specifically on how on those who would like to invest in Nusantara. There is a tax reductions, there is super tax reductions, for example. There is exemptions of those who would like to also invest in several area, in social area, or perhaps on the research and development. Yeah, that is possible. And we also have some affirmative for the medium and small enterprise because we treat them to have a 0% corporate income. Yeah, so that they can also participate in our development process. Yeah. Next one, you can discuss later on here with my deputies, and also I am open. Of course, my knowledge on the detail will be less than my deputy, but I can also have some conversation with you on this subject. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, as a close, I think there is a unique opportunity of Kazakhstan on as private sectors to participate because you already have your experiences in developing Astana. Yeah, of course, the situation will be different because you have a four seasons, so we only have 2 seasons, dry and also rainy seasons. But I think some knowledge still be useful for us to develop our new capital. And I do hope that some of you will follow up this meeting by also seeing is believing to the field. And I do hope that this also will strengthen the cooperations, collaboration, and relationship, at least between these 2 cities, Astana and Nusantara, but in the broader term between Indonesia and also Kazakhstan. I thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Rahmat.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bambang, for your presentation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached a pivotal moment of our forum, the panel session. Let me introduce our esteemed moderator for today's panel session, Mr. Gustav Daoud Sirait, Coordinator for the Political and Economic Department of the Embassy of Indonesia in Astana. We are also privileged to have 2 distinguished panelists joining us today, Professor Muhammad Ali Berawi, Deputy for Green and Digital Transformation of Nusantara Capital City Authority. And also we have Mr. Agung Wicaksono, Deputy for Finance and Investment of Nusantara Capital City Authority, joining us through Zoom from Indonesia.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our panel session. And after hearing the excellent presentation from Minister Bambang Susantono, the Chairman of the Nusantara Capital Authority, I believe you, the audience, you has a growing appetite to receive or learn further on the many incentives or opportunities of Nusantara capital development. And of course, how that opportunities can be tapped by the investors, potential investors in Kazakhstan. The two members of panel will bring to the forefront two very important dimension or aspects of Nusantara development. The first is the dimension of the green and digital transformation. And the second will be the dimension of, this is interesting, the funding and investment dimension. Let's start, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, with the first member of the panel, Professor Muhammad Ali Berawi, here with me on the stage. Professor Muhammad Ali Berawi is the Deputy Chairman for Green and Digital Transformation of the Nusantara Capital Authority. And interestingly, he is also a professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Faculty of Civil Engineering in Universitas Indonesia, the National University of Indonesia. And Professor Ali is also visiting scholar at various universities, mainly Department of Civil Engineering of the University of Washington, and also in the St. Petersburg Polytechnic University in Russia. Professor Ali, I will give you the floor to present to the audience the green and digital transformation that will be brought by Nusantara Capital Authority. The floor is yours, Professor Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Gustav. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to explain, give some brief information on the green and digital transformation of Nusantara within this 15 minutes. So as you can see from my slide, I'll talk through on the Nusantara, the Indonesia Smart and Sustainable Forest City, in which, like mentioned by the chairman, the Minister of Nusantara, we actually has this 5 principles in developing the Nusantara. In the next slide, we are talking about first building the Nusantara as a resilient, green and sustainable city. Then perhaps the next KPI, key performance indicators, in building Nusantara as a inclusive city, a global city for all. And last but not least, Nusantara as a smart city. So mainly, I will talk mainly on the smart city as a part of our KPI in building the new capital city of Indonesia. You see that we have this smart city infrastructure that will be delivered during the construction development. On the first layer, on the passive infrastructure, we have a physical infrastructure development. This particularly on building the multi-utility tunnel, in which all the utilities will lie down in order to connect all basic infrastructure, such as, for example, fiber optics, electric cables, water, waste, piping, and extra. On the second layer is developing the active infrastructure that include fiber optic cable networks, broadband 5G, as well as the command center and data center. And on the third layer, we will have various 6 domains of services application that include the e-governance, smart transportation and mobility, smart living, natural resources and energy, industry and human resource, and smart built environment and smart infrastructure. Let me talk through about each of these services. So on the next slide, for the e-governance, we plan to have a dynamic and inclusive city ready to face future changes and the use of digital information to improve productivity as well as the quality of life of each citizen. So we will provide from a digital identification into the built environment and infrastructure. In the smart governance, from a civil registration, digital identities, and towards the city integrated operation center, and then come up with the smart permit, smart administration, e-proc and extra. On the second domain, on the transportation and mobility, we provide the intelligent transportation system from the autonomous driving system, electric vehicle ecosystem, advanced public transportation system, as well as the electronic payment system. Like mentioned by our chairman, we already signed the MOU with one of our technology providers in expanding the knowledge and technology on urban air mobility. Next year, we will have pilot project on urban air mobility for a sky taxi. So on the next slide, we also plan to have a smart logistic from the autonomous mobile robots, IoT system in logistic, as well as the logistic tracking system. For the smart living, we will produce a pollution control system, public space and safety system, health and welfare system, as well as disaster response and management. From the suspect detection towards environmental display. On the fourth domain, for the natural resources and energy, smart water resource management as well as smart waste management will be constructed. The tap water will be provided through the water resource management system, and smart bin management will be part of the smart waste management system. For the renewable energy, as is our key performance indicator, that 100% renewable energy will be fully utilized by 2045. We have various rich resources of renewable energy in Kalimantan, span from a solar panel to the windmill and extra. So the fifth, if you see the closer look on the renewable energy, we expect to have about 7 gigawatts of renewable energy to fulfill the demand of 1.9 million citizens in Nusantara. For natural resources energy, as explained by the chairman, 75% of the Nusantara area will be dedicated for tropical forests as well as the green area. 65% dedicated for tropical forests, 10% for the green areas, and another 25% will be built as an urban development area. So to respond these green resources, we will have a smart forest and green management that include biodiversity and carbon stock monitoring, and also forest management with fire and climate sensor, hotspot monitoring, fire break system, as well as the use of digital technology in building the smart farming, include precision farming towards urban agriculture. The fifth one on the industries and human resources, the support for the local small medium enterprise, the Citizen Living Lab towards the human resources development on digital social platform as a platform for co-creation with the citizen service collaboration. Last, the built environment and infrastructure. We already use the digital technology from building information modeling, digital twins towards the 5G infrastructure and smart construction, smart project monitoring. As a response on the next slide, we have this master plan of Nusantara Smart City, as well as a smart building guideline. So we are very happy to share all information related to investment in the Nusantara Smart City for your own knowledge and information. So next slide. This is part of the community empowerment program for building smart and digital village. Next slide, please. So on the smart and digital village, we have Coding Mom program that will be launched next week. And we also have this smart village providing computers, digital literacy for the local citizen. So putting the local citizen ready to be part of the Nusantara capital city. So you are very welcome. There's a plenty of investment opportunities in building the smart city of Nusantara. It spans from the passive infrastructure, building the multi-utility tunnel, active infrastructure, conducting projects on the data center, common center, and towards the services for the Nusantara citizen with the 6 domains of services. With that, Mr. Moderator, I conclude my presentation and looking forward for your question and point of concern. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Professor Ali, colleagues, excellencies. When we hear the chairman saying that Nusantara will be a forest in the city and the city in the forest, we say this is quite unique. But after hearing what Professor Ali has just explained to us in the audience, the aspect of smart city and the ambition of transportation mobility, renewable energy, when Nusantara would like to achieve 100% of renewable energy in 2045, and also how the smart and digital village aspect that we would like to present, we see that Nusantara is a very special case of a smart and forest city. And Professor Ali has also highlighted the many opportunities of investment on those aspects. And that's the first trigger. And the second trigger, with more in depth of the financing and also the development aspects, the investment opportunities aspects of the Nusantara, we would like to invite the Deputy of Funding and Investment of the Nusantara Capital Authority to present us with this aspect. Dr. Agung Wicaksono, the Deputy Chairman for Funding and Investment. He has various experiences from academia, private sector, and government affairs. And prior to his current position, Mr. Agung is the director of Jababeka Infrastructure Company, the biggest industrial zone in Southeast Asia. and he has also hold other important position in the transportation sector in Indonesia. And with that, Pak Agung, the floor, or rather the screen is yours to present us with the interesting aspects of investment opportunities in Nusantara. Please, Pak.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Pak Gustav Sirait. I hope you can hear my voice clearly there in Astana.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very warm good afternoon right now, or good morning for you in Astana from Jakarta, Indonesia, the still current capital, which by next year will move to Nusantara. Allow me to express my gratitude first to Chairman Minister Bambang Susantono, also to the Ambassador of Republic of Indonesia to Kazakhstan, Mr. Excellency Fajrul Rahman, also to the host of the event, the host of Astana, the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Almas Aidarov, as well as the Deputy Hakim of Astana, Mr. Ryan Yeranov, and certainly all the participants there. Allow me to begin with an apology that I could not join you in person for this very precious business forum due to a force majeure, I would say. A force majeure because I was already holding my ticket to fly to Astana on that day, but I had to go to hospital and then being admitted for a few nights. But therefore, I feel very sad. But yesterday, when I was discharged from the hospital, and therefore I can be with you here, although not in person, I'm very happy because now I will follow up on what Professor Ali, my colleague, has shared about, how smart and green the city will be. And I'm going to show you how you can make that happen. So with that, let's go to the next slide. Okay, this has been explained briefly by Pak Gustav. I will skip this slide. Basically, I'm very happy coming from the private sector to be able to be called for this honorable duty to serve the Nusantara National Capital Authority, helping Minister Bambang in the investment area. And therefore, in the next slide, what we will see is how important is investment as an element to make Nusantara happen. Because as you can see here, out of the 100% budget necessary for this, which is about 35 billion US dollar, only 20% will come from the government budget. So 80% of that will have to come from investment. And that means it should come from businesses like yourself through a number of participation. So the number one element that is the most important is the public-private partnership scheme, where I will explain more details using the example of the projects that is on offer. And certainly we also invite company participations to collaborate with our state-owned enterprise, what we call the authority-owned enterprise of Nusantara, and that is called the PT Bina Karya. And then you can gain benefit through the utilization of the state property, of the state asset, the land that belongs to Nusantara, and through various mechanisms, from rent, utilization cooperation, through BOT. And certainly an international foreign direct investment is something that we would like to make to happen, as well as a number of creative financing capability. For example, through carbon trading. Knowing that Nusantara will be a green city, this is going to be one of the potential. But also philanthropy, because of the donation scheme that is enabled through the government regulation, that will make it possible for you to contribute to the development of infrastructure in Nusantara through donation. So then in the next slide, we will see that we have identified in total 12 investment sectors. And these 12 sectors all are priority, but 6 of them are what we call the top priority, the urgent one. Energy, and especially renewable energy, is one of them. Telecommunication and transportation, as you have seen from the presentation of Professor Berawi, is also very important in order to make the intelligent transport system. But certainly the very basic one is the housing. Yeah, we need the housing. Next year alone, we need to house almost 17,000 civil servants, and therefore we need a lot of government housing. The water and the waste management is also a very important element that is open for participation. And out of that, there are also the high priority sectors, the 6 sectors that will very much support how the livelihood in that future city would happen. From township management to technology, medical facility, commercial infrastructure, education, and industrial area, all of this will be elaborated in the next slide. So in the next slide, you see that we have identified until now more than 300 projects that is on offer on the core government area alone. So for example, the housing area that I mentioned has about 130 projects, and the estimated investment, and this is only based on the land value alone. So don't get misunderstanding that this is not the total value of the investment, but this is just from the land value. And of course, the value of the building, you will have to extrapolate based on your offer that we will evaluate further. Same thing goes for the commercial area, the shopping mall that Minister Bambang has mentioned. Education obviously becomes very important. Transport, medical, telco, energy, and township. Those are the areas that we have identified, and we will see in the next slide the list of projects, the list of the sectors with example of project. So the first, as Professor Berawi mentioned, our city will require 7 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2045. And by next year, we will already need about 400 megawatts of power to be supplied. And you see there in that bar chart in the middle that already 50 megawatt of solar power plant will be constructed. But don't think that that is the end, because over time, this volume will increase. So you see the yellow color is the solar, the blue color is even bigger, is the hydropower. So all this potential with estimated investment value could be about $6 billion will be on offer. And especially if you look at the next slide, starting next year, because the 50 megawatt project is already ongoing now, starting next year, the opportunity is for you to work with a project company, to have a project company that will work with our state-owned enterprise, the Bina Karya company, that will be the owner of the permit of electrification in Nusantara area. So this is not going to be under the central government state-owned enterprise anymore, but this goes directly to our authority-owned enterprise. And that enterprise will deliver the electricity to the end user. And what is unique with this project, through the modality that we presented, is that you will have an agreement not only with the company becoming the off-taker. Yeah, as a project company, you will have an agreement, a guarantee agreement with the government through the Ministry of Finance, as well as a company that belongs to the Ministry of Finance that we call the IIGF, Indonesian Infrastructure Guaranteed Fund. So you can be playing the role as investor, as lender, or as contractor, but your role as project company will be secured through the offtake of electricity by the state-owned enterprise, and also a guarantee agreement with the government. Yeah, and that government, Ministry of Finance will have a recourse agreement as well with our state-owned enterprise. So with a PPA of 20 to 25 years, this will guarantee a very safe return for you. And in the next chart, we'll see an example of the project on offer, that is a floating solar PV on a dam. So you have seen the progress of one of the projects right now we are building is the dam called Sepaku Semoy Dam. The dam is very important because water is the source of life. Yeah, so that dam can serve as a potential to have a floating solar panel, especially with the surface area of more than 300 hectares, that will house a potential capacity of almost 25 megawatt of electricity. So this project will be starting next year, yeah, because we will have already the power coming from the solar panel, but this will come at a larger scale, and this will be the flagship project in the renewable energy sector. In the next slide, we see the sector of housing, which is very important. Why is that? Because this housing, in the next slide, will host about 17,000 civil servants. So in the next slide, I haven't seen the slide moving. Yes. This you see, by next year alone, we will require 128 towers to be built, apart from what has been constructed by the government. Right now, government is constructing 47 towers, and also a few hundreds are already on offer to other companies. But there are still plenty of opportunities for housing. And in the next slide, you will see the scheme that enables you to have the demand risk for this housing being taken care by the government. So maybe one of the questions you will have is, who is going to live in this housing? Yeah, you are not in control of that, right? Because these are basically government civil servants, where the government will be in charge of moving them from the current capital to Nusantara. So with that, we created this structure where the government officer, as the user or the tenant, will receive the service from the special purpose vehicle, the company that you as investor establish together with the contractor, and it will enter into a PPP agreement with us, with the Nusantara Capital City Authority as the government contracting agency. And through that PPP agreement, this company will receive what we call availability payment for investment return. And that is, again, something guaranteed by the government, by the Ministry of Finance, both through the guarantee agreement and the recourse agreement, together with the IIGF as the company of the government. And this availability payment, ladies and gentlemen, has been secured by the Ministry of Finance. For every year, we have allocated 0.1% of our GDP to compensate for this availability payment. And even after 2029, this will increase to 0.15% of the GDP. So again, the demand risk is taken care of by the government, but you will invest first, and then we will recoup that investment through the availability payment of a 15 to 20 years of time. So in the next chart, you will see we have also allocated the area. This is just one example of the housing, happen to be a state-owned high-density vertical housing, and also the volume. So you will see we have a map consisting of all those plots of lands, the parcel of lands, and for that we have allocated also the volume of the area, as well as the number of the towers that is on offer. In the next slide, we go to the commercial area. So the civil servant needs to be in Nusantara for 3 reasons. They have to work, but they have to live, but also they need to play. Work, live, and play. The work part is compensated or provided for with the government offices that is already under construction. the housing is for the live part. The play element is through the commercial mixed use for the shopping mall, for the entertainment. And for that, we have about 71 mixed use cluster for various usage from shopping malls to hotels and others. Yeah. And in the next slide, you will see the modality for this. For the mixed use, it will be mainly a private investment where you will engage with the user, the tenant, the project company will engage with that. And you will have an agreement on the utilization of land, or we call it the ADP. Yeah, basically is the land of asset controlled by the authority. And there is a contribution to the authority that will be settled between the project company and also with the role of the state-owned enterprise, yeah, of Bina Karya. And basically, this is something that, in this case, the demand risk is handled by the project company. Yeah, but of course, given the number of Nusantara residents, which by next year is estimated to be at least 200,000, yeah, then it is also a very promising potential to provide the play element of the city. Next slide. This is one example of the project, yeah, the potential for commercial mixed-use area. Okay, in the next slide, we'll go, yeah, to another sector, which is township. You have seen in the previous video the mangrove eco park. This is one of the 6 investment opportunities for developing park across Nusantara. The mangrove eco park and also many botanical gardens. So this is something that is also on offer to make the green city of Nusantara. Next slide. Education is as well very important. 63 education projects ranging from elementary to senior high school and integrated school will be on offer for you who would like to invest. The next slide is on an example of the education facilities in one of the precincts. So here you see the mix of the various schools. Yeah. The next slide is talking about medical, so healthcare. Right now, as we speak, there are already 2 hospitals that is going to be built. One is by the government, another one is by the investor, by a domestic investor with international partner. Certainly, there are more opportunity for healthcare open for you, both in the form of hospital as well as district health facility or center, yeah, that we see here. And in each of the precinct, yeah, of the 9 precinct, we see the number of the land area, yeah, that is on offer, yeah, for building medical facility. Next slide. This is one example in the West Precinct, yeah, one potential district health facility which will be close to vertical residence, close to hotel, as well as to the state-owned enterprise office. Yeah, so this is why I think it is going to be very attractive to build a medical facility in an area where it's close to various facility of the government. Next slide, we see is transportation, something that Professor Berawi has elaborated before. So there are 5 possible opportunity of transportation investment. You can either go direct for investment, or if you want to test a new capability, there can be using a POC, proof of concept mechanism, that Professor Berawi has prepared. But in case you want to invest, then the next slide you will see one example of project, what is called the EV autonomous minibus on demand in one of the corridor. We call it corridor 13. So we would like to have the minibus serving as the first line and last mile feeder using an electric vehicle, and even further we would like to have an autonomous vehicle. So these are the potential scheme that can happen. It can be a PPP scheme, yeah, where say you invest the capex as well as the operation, the OPEX, but then the government will subsidize, will compensate, yeah, based on what the citizens will pay and the gap of the cost. Something that we have planned and we have already applied in various provinces in Indonesia. Yeah, for example, in Jakarta, I was before in the transportation sector. The government of Jakarta subsidized the citizen on the fare that they allocated, and that subsidy is used to compensate the operator, the private company. Yeah, so that kind of scheme can also happen, yeah, for Nusantara, where the government role through PPP is supporting the private investment. So in the next slide, we see for that to happen, we all provide the competitive investment incentive. The minister has already mentioned about the government regulation, and this incentive ranging from land ownership to ease of permit for foreign worker, tax holiday, VAT and luxury goods tax, super tax deduction up to custom and import duty. So this ease of doing business is something unique and being the most competitive in Indonesia at the moment. For example, the land usage right for 95 years and extendable for another 95 years, that only happened for the first time in Indonesia, as well as the building usage right for 80 years, extendable for another 8 years. Yeah. Or for example, for foreign workers to have exemption on the compensation fee, yeah, that needs to be paid to the government. This time, for workers in Nusantara, this will be exempted. Yeah. Or the tax holiday scheme, which I will explain in the next slide. So in the next slide, we'll see, yeah, each of the incentive that shows that Nusantara is much more attractive compared to the existing tax incentive in Indonesia. The first one, for example, the tax holiday. Outside Nusantara, you can only get tax holiday if you invest more than 100 billion rupiah, or about $6.5 million. But in Nusantara, you can invest just 10 billion rupiah, or just about 650,000 US dollar. You can already get the tax holiday with a longer term. So only 1/10 of the limit in Indonesia, but with a longer term of tax holiday. Yeah. Also, in other aspect, the super tax deduction, for example, they have much more percentage in Nusantara, yeah, and as well as up to various aspects that I've mentioned before, the custom duty facility, the VAT and sales tax, and the income tax article borne by the government. These all are much more attractive in Nusantara compared to other parts of Indonesia. This is how the government is really showing that we invite participation of investors to make Nusantara happy. In the next slide, to make that happen, as you see here, this investment journey of Nusantara was started by the president himself. Last year, in October, he started the market sounding in Jakarta, accompanied by Chairman Minister Bambang and Vice Chairman Doni, as well as the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce. And the journey to Japan began earlier this year, just like what Mr. Chairman is doing today. Our Vice Chairman visiting Japan, and just 1 month afterwards, the Japanese business delegation visit Nusantara, led by the advisor of the Prime Minister. So this is also what we're looking for. We believe something this can happen, I think, with the strong role, strong leadership of Ambassador Excellency Fadlur Rahman, having business delegation from Kazakhstan visiting Nusantara, having picture in front of the point zero, yeah, of Nusantara. This will be a very strong symbol of seeing is believing, something that Mr. Bambang already mentioned before. The next slide, we will also see, apart from Japan, other country in the next slide is Korea, who has signed MOU. The companies from Korea has signed MOU with us. And the minister of South Korea also visit Nusantara, yeah, after meeting us in Jakarta at that time. also accompanied by the ambassador of Indonesia in Korea at that time, Mr. Gandhi Sulistyo. Yeah, and I believe this is also something that can happen for Kazakhstan. The next chart we'll see. I also went to India, for example, for an investment forum in Mumbai. And just a few months ago, during the Hannover Messe in Germany, where President Jokowi was present as Indonesia being a partner country in Hannover Messe, Mr. Bambang explained the development of Nusantara to President Jokowi as well as to the German Chancellor Scholz. And we also secured an MOU with the German company, Siemens, that has been in collaboration with Professor Berawi, to develop the smart city, smart energy, and smart technology. And then in the next slide, we see that President himself, just a couple of weeks ago, visited Singapore to speak in front of investors in a forum hosted by Temasek Holding. And this is showing that the president is very committed, that Nusantara is not something that only is for the current government. It's not only a project that is initiated by President Jokowi, because the vision of Nusantara has existed since the time President Sukarno led Indonesia. But it's President Jokowi that made the action to build Nusantara. Just like when I was experiencing in Jakarta, when he was governor, he initiated the construction of MRT. And now MRT in Jakarta, has been enjoyed by millions of citizens, and it continues to be used, it continues to expand, something that we believe will also happen with Nusantara. So don't worry whether next year we'll have a new president or not. Nusantara will continue with the commitment of everyone in Indonesia. So in the next slide, we will see. That is why I think Chairman Bambang and team visited Astana. We saw the success of Astana 25 years down the road, and we would like to see that also happens for Nusantara in Indonesia. The sister city MOU between Astana and Nusantara is an opportunity for us to gain your support to make Nusantara happen. And with that, in the next slide, as the final slide, we'll see that there is a saying from a wise person in the final slide. The next slide. We want to make Nusantara happen because some people make things happen. Some just watch things happen, but there are others who just wonder what has happened. You have made Astana happen, and we want to make you help us build Nusantara to happen. With that, thank you, Rahmat, and terima kasih.
Thank you, Pak Agung, for the great presentation. And if you say seeing is believing, I think after the two members of panel, I can say listening is almost believing. So we are one step, almost one step there. And now, colleagues, it's your turn. If you have questions with regard to the development of Nusantara, and also with regard to the aspects that have been presented, each by Professor Ali and Deputy Agung, in the aspects of smart city and digital green transformation, and also in the aspect of investment and financing. We would like to hear your question. I will give first opportunity to the left side of the podium. Is there any question from colleagues on the left side, left wing? If not, from the right side, is there any question for the moment? If not, I wish to ask each one question, maybe while waiting for questions from the participants. Firstly, to Professor Ali. Professor Ali, we would like to hear more in the master plan that you have said, master plans of smart city and smart building in Nusantara. For the first 3 years, we wish to know on the master plan, what will be the priority for the first 2 or 3 years, and the interesting aspect of the master plan that you could highlight for us in the audience. Please, Professor Ali.
Thank you, moderator. This is how we work. We plan all those smart city plan into the guideline and master plan as the one map, one plan, one policy on developing the smart city. For the smart city master plan, we define what the 6 domain of features, each features in the 6 domain. For example, when we are talking on the smart mobility and transportation, then what type of features that can be constructed in order to respond those the need of citizen to use the transportation and mobility sectors together with other domains. So we have listed about 100 of apps features for the citizen. For the smart buildings, for example, we built the guideline to build a smart building. What is criteria, what needs to be developed, what type of technology that required for smart buildings and an extra. It will be a guideline for the contractor, for the developer in building a smart building in Nusantara. So those criteria, those specifications and standards that will be applied in the construction project of Nusantara. So every parties that participate in building Nusantara will be guided through by this master plan and guidelines.
Thank you, Professor Ali, for that further information on the master plan aspects of the Nusantara Smart City. Now, Deputy Agung, the investors in Kazakhstan, they in our visit and meetings with them, they really like to know in general what will be the process from the first step of initial interest from their side until the allocation of a land, and maybe before that the procedures that they need to go through before the land allocation, and they can then explore or implement their activities in that land, and whether there will be a fee during that process. They would like to hear your guidance and information on that aspect. Please, Deputy Agung, if you can explain. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Gustav. That is a very practical and useful question. First of all, we have heard that Minister Bambang, the chairman, have mentioned that we have received 256 letter of intent. So that's how to begin with. Please send us a letter of intent. I think we'll be very happy. We have showed that slide. I think we can show that slide later. The final slide that has the email address and also the address. It is directed toward the chairman. Yeah, and based on that, we have our investor relation team. Yeah, so that is the address, and yes, there is also the email, the Investasi. Yeah, that's the one, investasi@ikn.go.id. So our investor relation team will then sort out, yeah, the letter of intent that you have, and we will share with you, Pak Gustav, the format of the letter of intent, yeah, so that this can be disseminated, yeah, to the potential investors. That format of letter of intent will consist basically, the name of the company, the description of the company, as well as the interest in which area. Yeah, I've mentioned already the sectors and also the potential project. So say which area, which project you are interested in, and your role as investor, what are your capability? So for example, the financial capability, also say the technological capability, partnership with certain banks, for example. Yeah, and our team will do an evaluation, yeah, to match the interest and the needs that we have. Yeah, and after that, we will go on what we call a one-on-one meeting. Yeah, that one-on-one meeting can take place either physically or through teleconference. And after a one-on-one meeting, we then go further and reach the stage where we can go to a non-disclosure agreement. So one-on-one meeting is like a dating process for, let's say, the first date, right? But once we reach an NDA, then we start, agreeing that, we will see each other every week, and then also open the information. We will share more information about those land, yeah. And after the NDA is signed, we can go further later to a stage where we can have an agreement, and by that agreement, we will already then allocate the land. Yeah, the land allocation process will happen certainly within the authority of IKN, not just going to be me as the deputy for investment. We'll work together with the deputy for planning and also for the land affairs. Yeah, and with that, you will get the land allocated, but also the price range of that land. At the moment, we are in the process of issuing a decree on the value of the land that has been determined by independent appraiser. Yeah, so the price of the land is determined by independent appraiser. Yeah, so that it's becoming a fair price. Yeah, and through a negotiation process between the investor and our authority, especially through our authority-owned enterprise, then it will seal the agreement with the land being allocated. And hopefully, after that, you can continue and embark on the construction. That is for a direct private investment. But if it is a PPP, a public-private partnership scheme, so you can propose a project, an unsolicited project, but that proposal will then be evaluated by us with the role of the Ministry of Finance, especially when you will do the feasibility study later. Yeah, the result of the feasibility study will be evaluated by Ministry of Finance company, and with that feasibility study, we will be able to conduct a procurement process. Yeah, especially if this is an unsolicited process. Yeah, the procurement process will come after, after that stages. Yeah, or if this is a solicited proposal, solicited project, the project will be offered by us, will be tendered. Yeah, and companies can participate, and you can either participate as a foreign investment by collaborating with a state-owned company or a local private partner. Yeah, and this PPP scheme is more stringent because the government allocate the budget for this. Yeah, like I mentioned, the availability payment. Your investment after 15 years will be recovered, yeah, by the government role. So that's basically the two scheme. And for that, of course, there is no payment required for the process. Only when we secure a deal, the transaction happen, then the money talks. Yeah. So the show me the money things happen after the evaluation, yeah, and then negotiation, and then show me the money, or show the country the money, yeah, through a scheme where we will elaborate further. For example, through an escrow account, a joint account, yeah, between the investors and the authority company, that will ensure, that this dating, the speed dating will then become a marriage for the future of Nusantara. I think that's my explanation, Pak Gustav.
Thank you very much, Deputy Agung. It's indeed very useful, and you have explained to us all the steps until we have the marriage, and hopefully will produce many fruitful benefits for both Indonesia and also Kazakhstan. Thank you again, Deputy Agung, and also Professor Ali. And I think we have appetite for one question from the audience. We have Pak Serik, our honorary counsel, and also businessman from Almaty who would like to convey questions to the panel. Please, Pak Serik, the floor is yours.
Господа коллеги, господа гости наши, я являюсь почетным консулом Индонезии в Алмате, и в течение года-полтора мы уже обсуждаем эти вопросы. Есть компании в Казахстане, которые имеют большой международный опыт строительства, именно строительства. Они в больших объемах работают, инвестировали и в Турции, и в России, и в других странах мира. После нашей неоднократной встречи у них появилась заинтересованность развивать свой бизнес в новой столице Нусантара. И вопрос ко мне, которые попросили меня узнать, как предоставление земельных участков и на сколько лет, какие налоговые льготы. Пока вот это два вопроса.
Thank you, Mr. Serik, our honorary counsel. I will, if Pak Deputy Agung, do you hear the translation? If not, I will repeat the question from Pak Serik.
No, I didn't hear. I didn't
Okay.
hear the translation. So please repeat, Pak Gustav.
Okay. Basically, our honorary counsel, Mr. Serik, asked that companies, construction companies in Kazakhstan, they really have a huge interest in investing in Nusantara because the construction companies have many experiences in doing this kind of construction in other countries, such as Turkey and also many parts in Russia. With regard to that, Pak Serik, he wants to convey a question from several construction businessmen in Kazakhstan. The first is if the panel can explain the allocation of the land process one more time in details with regard to how many years the land could be allocated or utilized, and secondly, on the incentives, if we could have more details on the tax aspect and other benefits incentives with regard to the private investment aspect. That will be the two main questions conveyed representing the construction businessman in Kazakhstan from Pak Serik. Please, maybe Deputy Agung first, and then Prof. Ali, if you want to add on that. Please, Deputy Agung.
Okay, thank you, Pak Gustav, the moderator. So, Honorary Counsel, Mr. Serik Karim Sakov, it's an honor for us to get question and interest from you representing the construction companies. And indeed, I think the participation of construction companies from Kazakhstan is something will be very important, very valuable for us in Nusantara. Just to give you some example, already one big consortium of construction companies from China, the name is CCFG, already submitted not just a letter of intent, but also already getting the letter to proceed, and they are already working on the feasibility study to build housing, to build housing for the civil servant, which is going to be under the PPP scheme that I mentioned before. Another one is from Korea Land and Housing Corporation. Also did the same thing. For 20, I think about 20 a tower of housing. The one from China, maybe they propose about 60. Something that we are still evaluating. Many others are from Indonesian companies. So it would be very great if we can have such proposal coming from Kazakhstan construction companies, maybe in one consortium, offering to build housing for the civil servant. Let's say how many towers being proposed from the value that I mentioned, and the process will be the construction companies can come by themselves, or they can come together with the financiers, the banks, for example, the lenders. So that's the same model that the Chinese companies did. They work with the government ECA, the credit agency. So with that, when you submit the letter of intent, we as the authority will evaluate, and we will discuss internally on the basis of how many tower you are proposing. We will find the land and allocate the land. But before the land allocated is really owned by you or being built by you, then we will go to a process where we will issue a letter to proceed, and you will do the feasibility study. You will do the feasibility study. And from the feasibility study, we will then come up with the numbers. With the number, and in the procurement or the tender process, you as the initiator, the Kazakhstan construction company as the initiator will get a privilege, what we call the right to match, meaning whatever amount that will be offered, let's say by another competitor, the one that initiate will get the right to match that offer and then still get the contract. So that is the process. And regarding the incentive you asked, if I can refer you again to the slide that was shown before, that is in the fiscal incentive page. I think if the operator can do that. Otherwise, the document, I believe, will be shared to the audience. Will be shared to every audience. So number one of the incentive is the tax holiday. Tax holiday can be a maximum of 30 years with just investment of 10 billion rupiah, which is very minimal. 10 billion is only $600,000. So, or if you to do a donation, it doesn't actually yield commercial value, unlike a housing where you get the value. But let's say if you want to donate in building a road, building a road, let's say the name of the road is Nur Sultan Road, that can be getting a donation, super deduction tax, especially if you do it together with the local businesses, or the income tax article, yes, this one. So the financial income tax is more for a medium and small enterprise, micro and small medium enterprise, which I believe not fall under your category. But say the income tax article 21, that will be borne by the government for all the employees that located in Nusantara. So if you have employees working, you put your company working there, yeah, the employees there who has the domicile, yeah, there, Indonesian, for example, who live there, then there will be exempted from the income tax article 21. The value added tax and sales tax on luxury good, yeah, it will not be collected on property, electric vehicles, property rental services, construction services, and waste treatment services. Yeah. These details will be explained by the Ministry of Finance regulation, yeah, on how you can get this waiver on the value added tax and sales tax on the luxury goods. And the last is custom and duty facility, yeah. So you can get an exemption from import duty on the importation of goods for public and industrial interests, yeah. So if it is for public needs, for industrial needs, it is exempted, and also additional import tax exemption for investment facilities, yeah. And the period of import duty exemption is extended from 2 to 4 years, becoming to 4 to 6 years. Yeah. So these are some of the incentives on the tax aspect. If we go to the previous page, yeah, the previous page, because you were asking about the land, yeah, the land, the page before this, the slide before this, if you can show. Yes. So for example, on the land, you ask what incentive you get for the land, Mr. Serik. The land and building acquisition fee, we call it BPHTB in Indonesia, will be 0%. Yeah. And also for the land usage rights, yeah, it will be for 95 years and can be extended for another 95 years. Yeah. Or if you have a building usage right, yeah, it will be for 8 years, extended another 8 years, so 160 years. Yeah, yeah. So that's the land ownership incentive, which never exists before in Indonesia. Yeah. So these are some of the incentives that I can explain. My suggestion is for the construction companies, if they can take the initiative, send a letter of interest to contribute, let's say, for a housing project, yeah, for a housing project, and then if you mentioned that this will be, for example, for a PPP scheme, public-private partnership scheme, yeah, and then we will go further and evaluate, and hopefully, you know, there is a contribution of investment from Kazakhstan company. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Agung, for that clear guidance and suggestion on how the construction companies can explore and reap the opportunities of investing in Nusantara. We have one other question, I believe. Pak Victor, you would like to ask a question? Please.
Да, добрый день, у меня один вопрос. Вопрос заключается в том, что, к сожалению, мы сейчас не видим информацию о возвратности капитала. То есть инвестиции подразумевают возвратность. Сколько на $1 инвестиций в результате вернется денег? Этого непонятно. Мы видим потребности в инвестициях, но от принципа возвратности и что могут заработать потенциальные инвесторы, мы не видим.
Thank you, Pak Gustav. If you can translate again.
Thank you. Yes, Pak Agung. Thank you, Mr. Victor, for the president of Association of Construction Companies in Kazakhstan. Would like to ask you, in particular, Pak Agung, Pak Deputy, with regard to the investment return, what percentage in general or if you can give an idea of investment return would the Kazakhstan investors have if they decided to launch their investment initiative in Nusantara? So that's the short, simple question. What will be the percentage of investment that will be returned to Kazakhstan infrastructure companies if they decide to invest in Nusantara? Please, Pak Agung.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Victor. Matthew Fokov, the director of the Association of the Real Estate or Construction, I believe, which is, I think, very, very important. So basically, Mr. Victor, the value of return on investment is quite similar, yeah, according to the sector. So housing, for example, will be similar to the housing project that you will have in your own country. It's quite common, but of course the specific evaluation that you do for the feasibility study will determine that. So the feasibility study will be required to do that, but in overall, each sector will already have the return on investment. So let's say if you want to have the housing expectation, usually housing sector is about 13% to 16%. Yeah, so you can expect about that, but we will, of course, would like to know your proposal. Before then we evaluate and come up with the the number that we can agree on. But that's the typical one. That's for housing. Say if you want to look at the commercial shopping mall or hotels, this is say about 15% to 19%. It's higher, but of course the risk is also higher. Because for that we don't actually, for commercial infrastructure like malls, we don't come with the public-private partnership scheme. This is a pure private investment. So that's the number, Mr. Victor Yukov, and hopefully that can serve as a estimate for you to give the proposal to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Agung. Indeed, very useful estimation for Pak Victor. And now, Prof. Ali, you would like to add, please?
Thank you, moderator. So, first of all, like mentioned by Deputy Agung, send your letter of intent to the Nusantara, to Chairman of IKN. Then from that, you will find the list of opportunities that existed in Nusantara. For example, in the area of 256,000 hectares, we divided into 9 clusters, 9 areas, starting from the core government area, renewable energy, high-tech area, education, and etc. So after you send the LOI, then in certain agreement, you will sign the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, in which all the data required for you to do your feasibility study will be delivered by the authority. So this is why we need to sign the NDA. From that, you will define your feasibility studies and submit your proposal to Nusantara. Nusantara will have team to evaluate and to examine your proposal. Then it comes entering the negotiation process. So for example, in the first area, the main area of core government area, you see we have about, hold on, I have a glasses. So we have about 793 lots, in which each of lots consists of residential, education, and then public facilities and extra. This is for the core government area. For the other cluster, we also divide how many lots, how many area that can be offered to the private sector. So there's adding up the answer from my colleague, Deputy Agung. On the other hand, Mr. Victor, for the IRR, rate of return, for sure, when we invite the private sector, means that we know exactly that colleague from private sector entering the projects need to gain some return. So definitely when we do negotiation and binding agreement letter, the IRR will be higher than your W average cost of capital, weighted average cost of capital, or your MAR, minimum attractive rate of return for your company. But it doesn't stand alone. It will be compete with other proposal. So this is why we hands on the data for you to enable you to construct your FS and submit your proposal. Once it goes to this process, then we will select and we will define who won the project and what type of collaboration that will be conducted between Nusantara and your company. But for sure, the winning companies will be earn reasonable profit for them to do the project in Indonesia. Additional information, Indonesia is a fourth largest population, Mr. Victor. We have 270 million people, and it is estimated by 2030 close to 300 million people. It's a big market, but on the same time, it is a big productive engine. What we are looking for colleagues from foreign partners is how you entering the market while we work together, developing our capabilities, capacity together. So it's not only about the market, but it is about how we could grow together. Kazakhstan, Indonesia, as a team, as a partner on developing the global project. With that, I conclude my answer. Thank you, and looking forward to see you in Nusantara.
Thank you very much indeed. Audience, I believe you would agree that we have a very holistic information already presented by each Professor Ali and also by Deputy Agung. So we are very thankful, and I am honored to moderate this session. And colleagues, I believe this is not the end. This is just a first step toward Nusantara. And also we will organize the embassy with Nusantara Capital Authority, the Astana Nusantara business trip, hopefully soon. We would like to gather Kazakhstan companies to visit Nusantara because, like Pak Agung said, seeing is believing. And we have also one quote from the panel: never exist before this kind of incentives and benefits. So you must make use of it. I believe I would like to conclude by again thanking the members of panels with tepuk tangan together. Thank you for the clap of hands. And with this, I give the floor back to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much, Rahmat. Pak Agung, terima kasih. Semoga cepat pulih, Pak. Full recovery and see you
Rahmat.
soon. Thank you, Pak.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gustav. Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Ali Berawi. Thank you so much, Mr. Agung, as well, for joining us from Jakarta. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of this forum on investing in Indonesia's future capital. And we would like to express our hope that this forum has ignited a spark of interest and inspiration within each one of you to consider investing in Nusantara city. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you.